Welcome to this explainer. You know, when we talk about lipid nanoparticle manufacturing, we're really not talking about your standard pharmaceutical mixing process. Not at all. It is a highly precise, microscopic assembly line where we are literally building micro machines from scratch to deliver some incredibly advanced therapeutics. So let's dive right in.
This right here is the fundamental challenge we're tackling today. Think about it. Therapeutic nucleic acids, like mRNA, hold this absolutely incredible potential, but they are so fragile. I mean, if you were to just inject them naked straight into the bloodstream, the body's natural defenses would break them down almost immediately. So how do you safely deliver that fragile medicine directly into human cells? Well, the answer is the lipid nanoparticle. It's an engineered, highly technical microscopic delivery vehicle that's designed specifically to protect that cargo and navigate the body's super complex environment.
So here is our roadmap for today. First, the blueprint and parts. Then, the assembly floor. Number 3, the finishing touches. 4, quality assurance. And finally, shipping and handling.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the blueprint and parts. Constructing an LNP requires a highly specific recipe made of 4 distinct lipid classes, and each one acts as a very specialized part of our machine. First up, we have the ionizable lipid. Its charge actually changes depending on the surrounding pH, which is absolutely central to capturing our mRNA cargo early on and then helping it escape into the cell later. Next is the phospholipid, which is often called the helper lipid. It supports the overall structure and creates this nice bilayer-like organization. Then we add cholesterol, and yes, actual cholesterol. In this context, it contributes to membrane packing and gives our particles some really crucial structural rigidity. Finally, the PEG lipid forms a stabilizing surface layer. This one influences the particle's overall size and dictates exactly how long it can circulate in the bloodstream. Every single part here plays a non-negotiable role.
But here's the thing. We can't just use any off-the-shelf ingredients because these are complex manufactured raw materials themselves. They require their own strict identity, purity, and impurity specifications before they ever get anywhere near our assembly line. Impurities can easily sneak in during the synthesis, the degradation, or even just the basic storage of the raw lipid. And this is exactly why rigorous supplier qualification and incoming testing are so critical. The big takeaway here is that the quality of these raw lipids directly dictates whether our LNP forms consistently and stays stable over time. Simply put, if your parts are flawed, your micromachine is going to fail.
Moving right along to Section 2, the assembly floor.
This process is honestly nothing short of elegant. We aren't building these particles piece by piece with, microscopic tweezers. Instead, we're relying entirely on fluid dynamics and chemistry. Imagine 2 liquid streams meeting. You've got a lipid stream dissolved in an organic solvent and a nucleic acid stream in an aqueous or water-based solution. As they crash together in a rapid microfluidic mixing environment, the solvent conditions instantly change. This sudden environmental shift fundamentally alters the charge of our ionizable lipid, immediately drawing it toward the nucleic acid. In literally a fraction of a second, spontaneous self-assembly occurs. The lipids wrap perfectly around the mRNA, fully encapsulating it. It's a beautifully choreographed chemical dance, totally driven by tightly controlled process conditions. But this brilliantly illustrates one of the absolute biggest hurdles in biomanufacturing: scale. Let's say you perfect this mixing process in a tiny lab tube. You can't just multiply that recipe by 1,000 to make a commercial batch. Why not? Because particle formation is incredibly sensitive to the physical mixing environment. Fluid dynamics change drastically when you move to larger equipment. Scaling an LNP process requires some serious engineering and extensive mixing consistency studies, just to guarantee that the physics of the mix remain identical. We have to ensure our final micromachines look and act exactly the same, whether we're making 10 of them or 10 million.
Okay, on to Section 3, the finishing touches. So our newly formed LNPs are floating around, but they're in a mixture that includes residual organic solvents from that initial lipid stream. Those solvents are toxic, and they absolutely must be removed. We essentially have to clean up the factory floor. Through a process called buffer exchange, we carefully swap out that original liquid environment, transitioning the LNP entirely into a safe, aqueous formulation buffer. At the exact same time, we concentrate the LNP suspension to hit the exact target drug dose we need. Finally, we implement bioburden control and sterile filtration to ensure the microbiological safety of the product. And just like that, our micromachines are clean, concentrated, and ready for inspection. Which brings us to Section 4, quality assurance. The single most vital metric for our micromachine is something called encapsulation efficiency. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the proportion of our fragile mRNA cargo that was successfully packed entirely inside the lipid nanoparticles. If the medicine is just left floating outside the vehicle, it's totally useless to the patient. Packing the cargo perfectly really is the definition of success here.
But encapsulation is just one piece of the puzzle. We also meticulously measure particle size and distribution. If the LNPs are too large, they won't penetrate target tissues correctly. We verify RNA integrity, making absolutely sure the therapeutic payload wasn't damaged during the formulation process. We check the final lipid composition to ensure all 4 of those components are present in the exact right relative amounts. And of course, we test biological potency, physical pH, osmolality, and we check for any particulate contamination. Only when a batch hits every single one of these strict specifications does it actually pass QA.
Finally, Section 5, shipping and handling.
You might think the hard part is over, but these advanced medicines are remarkably fragile once they're completed. After aseptic fill finish into their final vials, they usually require strictly controlled frozen or refrigerated cold chain storage. And it's not even just about the temperature. They are highly sensitive to freeze-thaw cycling, which can warp the particle size and cause the cargo to leak out. They're even sensitive to basic agitation. Simply shaking the vial too much during shipping can physically stress the formulated particle and literally break it apart. That's exactly why manufacturers have to conduct really rigorous in-use stability studies. They need to define the exact, practical handling window a doctor or a pharmacist has once that vial is thawed and ready to use.
To show you just how crucial this interconnected web of quality is, let's look at a quick educational case study involving a fictional company called Vectra Biomanufacturing. So Vectra gets notified that their supplier for that highly important ionizable lipid we talked about is moving their manufacturing to a completely new geographic site. Now, Vectra can't just blindly accept the new material from the new site. They have to perform a massive impact assessment to prove that the new lipid still meets identity and purity specs, and crucially, that downstream LNP formation remains totally unaffected by the change.
But the plot actually thickens for Vectra. Separately, their ongoing stability data starts showing a slow rise in something called RNA lipid adducts. Now, an adduct is a platform-specific degradation product where the lipid actually reacts with and binds to the RNA over time. It's a critical stability indicating attribute. Because this adduct level is creeping up toward the failure limit, Vectra's team has to step up and act like detectives. They're forced to scrutinize their storage conditions, question the raw lipid quality, and reevaluate the robustness of their entire formulation to stop the degradation. It really proves that the vigilance never stops, even long after the product is manufactured. From perfectly sourced raw lipids colliding in microfluidic chambers to the meticulous monitoring of degradation and storage, LNP manufacturing truly is a marvel of modern engineering. And it leaves us with a pretty compelling thought to chew on. As we continue to master the high-tech assembly of these micro-machines, and as we push the boundaries of lipid quality and design even further, how might future breakthroughs unlock entirely new classes of medicine that we haven't even dreamed of yet? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.